Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be doing episode 2 review for Tomo-chan is a Girl. And I didn't mention in the first episode, but the title of the first episode is I Want to Be Seen as a Girl. Episode 2 is titled Tomo's Skirt / School Idol. The titles are actually, as far as I can tell, I don't look ahead. I try not to at least. But both titles actually pertain a lot to the episode. And so just by reading the title, I think we can get an idea of what we are expecting to see in the episode. And so let's just get started. The second episode opens up with a scene where Jun and Tomo have a moment they can sit next to each other on a crowded public transit. I think it was a train. I could have been a bus, I forget. But Tomo feels uncomfortable. She feels embarrassed. So she decides she'd rather just stand. And Jun's confused why, but he just, he accepts it. So then it cuts to the opening. And then we go on to another moment where they get onto a bus. And again, it's crowded. And this time, only Jun is sitting, Tomo's standing. And then a groper comes up and starts touching her butt through her skirt. Hence the reason why Tomo's skirt is the title. And that's actually pertaining to the first half of the entire episode. And so, as the groper's touching her, she feels like she wants to slug him, but she also feels kind of embarrassed if she has to scream in front of Jun. Like, I'm not sure why. I'm not exactly sure why she wouldn't, considering that as the audience, we can hear her thoughts, and that she can protect herself and take care of herself, but and she wants to be more girly, but it's like, is this the way to do it? Not sure why she's not taking things into her own hands. So she just kind of gives Jun a look like she's being bothered, and Jun actually steps up to the occasion and pushes her aside and grabs the guy, in a way like he's like, what the hell are you doing? Like, don't touch her and stuff like that. Hands the guy over to the police, and things are okay after that. Afterwards, they get off. They start walking home again, and Jun brings up the topic of like if she was okay, but then also asks her Tomo-chan not to, to stop wearing skirts because of reasons like this, and Tomo's asking like, why would you ask that? And she's like, there's slacks for girls too. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this actually contradicts everything I said in the first episode. So he does acknowledge and does realize she is a girl, and that he is actually protective of her. I loved this opening to the episode. I was actually shocked that they opened like this. So it was almost like my concerns from the last time were answered, and he does realize she is a girl, and he does actually want to protect her. So that's really good. It's not so much that Jun doesn't like, he doesn't want her to wear skirts necessarily because he doesn't like it, but it's more of a like, because Tomo, I guess to his eyes, she looks more like a guy, or appears more like a guy. She's very more masculine. She can take care of herself. It's not very girly in a sense, her personality, that he actually says it looks wrong on you. Like, that's the words he used. It looks wrong on you. And that that triggers Tomo to respond with a hit to his face, like knowing, she tells him that she knows, she's aware that it doesn't look good on her because she is not as girly as other people. She is taller, she is more masculine, and that she feels like she's trying her hardest not to look like a guy, not to be like a guy, but more girly. And that's probably why she wears the skirts in general. But then it brings up another topic, like she doesn't want to wear she doesn't want to wear slacks. She wants to wear skirts. She wants to be girly. So the next day, I'm guessing the next day, or the next time she has lunch with Misuzu, she brings up the topic that he asked her to stop wearing skirts. And so they talk about why, Tomo wears skirts with shorts underneath, and her skirt is so low, or so short. And even I noticed it too. I'm like, that's kind of weird. Like, I know girls wear shorts underneath their skirts, but it's kind of weird that her shorts are significantly longer than her skirt. And the reason is because she feels like it's easier to move around when the skirt is shorter. And so this whole topic about her skirt brings Misuzu to ask, why even wear the shorts if you're going to wear why wear the skirt if you're going to wear shorts underneath it? You might as well wear something else. And so she asked her to try and wear the skirt without shorts, because that's what normal girls do. And since Tomo wants to be a regular girl, that leads to the next scene. And then Misuzu, she insists Tomo don't wear the skirt with shorts underneath, and she obliges, and she decides, okay, I'm gonna walk home without the shorts on, and see if they get a reaction out of June. And so by doing so, it leads to Misuzu telling June that she's waiting for you, even though they had a big fight and they're not talking, and that she's not mad anymore. And that June gets all excited, and he rushes down to meet her. And it shows that Misuzu's holding Tomo's shorts in her hands. And it's just another one of her schemes to get them closer. And when June sees her without the shorts on, and in which Tomo is embarrassed, she is very embarrassed, she's trying to hold her skirt down, he has a dead face on his, dead look on his face, like, oh my gosh, like, what is happening? And instead of, like, walking side by side, he just kind of takes the lead and just starts walking off on his own. And it just shows that he's very embarrassed. He does acknowledge that she is very girly at this moment, and he doesn't want to be staring. He doesn't want to, make her feel uncomfortable. And I like that. I like that part of him. I'm just kind of like that as a guy. I try not to stare, at someone who I find very attractive as well. Like, I feel like, okay, I might be like a creep if I do that. So I try to look away, or I try to not, make a huge deal about it. But, yeah, it's like such a glaring difference to June. And, it's something that, he would like to see probably, that he tries not to stare and he takes the lead. And it's very blatant that he even runs into a pole when Tomo tries to get his attention. And that just goes to show that he's very aware that she's embarrassed, and that he can be embarrassed as well. And that just shows how, both of them are learning more about each other. And I find that very, very character building for June as well. And that's why I like him in this episode. And during that walk home, Tomo's skirt gets lifted from the wind. Cliche anime scene in which June kind of falls over like a dead rock because he sees her panties, and he's like stunned. I'm pretty sure, obviously that's just anime style, but I would be the same way. I would quickly look away. I would just try to forget about I saw that, or you not even mention it. And Tomo's embarrassed about it too, and she says that it was a horrible idea. And then June also explains that he felt bad because he helped make her feel uncomfortable, and that he doesn't want to force her to wear something that she doesn't want to, or dress in a way that she doesn't want to. And I thought that was really nice of him, and this is a great character episode for him. I like that he understands that he's not as blind as he was, seemed in the first episode. And so this was a really strong episode for June, and I appreciate that very much. So moving on, so the next scene is after the discussion about June and Tomo. Misuzu goes the next day during gym and asks how the walk home went, and she knew right away. It was almost like she was scheming it, and she asked Tomo, "Did he see your panties?" And she tossed a volleyball, I think it was a volleyball, past her head so hard that it hit the wall and scared other girls. And she's like, "Bullseye!" And I'm like, that was a pretty funny scene. Like, I'm starting to think, okay, Misuzu's maybe scheming a lot of things, and she has a way with words and a way with people. Maybe I said last episode that she's kind of like me. Maybe she's not like me. Maybe she has a more very, very protective attitude and very playful attitude when it comes to Tomo. So it's something that I didn't expect as much, but I liked it. It was funny. And then she also continues to play with that during the entire episode. Just adding, she goes up to June as well and says, like, you haven't been talking to Tomo all day. She feels sad, and she's teasing him because they're both embarrassed, and he gave her a finger flick onto the forehead, and she's like, go ahead and try, and he did, and it just did one of those moments where she again receives the punishment of her actions, and she didn't say a word. She just received it. She went, ow, and then that was it. It just cuts to the next scene where June goes up to Tomo and says, let's get lunch. So that was a pretty sweet scene. That was a good friendship scene. Honestly, it was not anything. It's not meant to be like, be hurtful for anyone in any way. But I thought that was a really well done first half of the episode. Second half, the school idol part of it introduces another character, Carol, and she's an English student. I don't know how long she's supposed to have been there, but I guess considering how she speaks Japanese, I mean, obviously it's a voice actor, but she speaks well, and it shows a flashback during the episode that she's, trying to make friends with other kids, ever since she was a little kid, and she hasn't had any luck. So in this episode, she is actually a distant relative of Misaki, in which they walk up together to Tomo, and when Misaki is talking to Tomo, like, casually, Carol realizes that, oh, this girl could be my rival, because apparently Carol actually likes Misaki. So I don't know how that's, that it wasn't exactly introduced very well between Misaki and Carol, but I can see it, happening, because Misaki says that, they're married 3 times because they proposed to their kids. But it's something that I'm like, that's kind of very cliche, and at the same time, it's like very weak. It didn't really convince me. So I thought it was more like just a joke. It's just playful, a playful way of saying, yeah, we're really close. But I guess it's a thing. I'm not sure. After watching the episode, I kind of don't like Carol, but because I've seen airhead characters before, but she's taking it to another level, I think. I'm not sure if that's just the way she is or she's acting. So so basically she sees Tomo as a rival and goes out of her way to ask Gundo to give any advice on how to, take Tomo out of the picture, in which Misuzu actually goes out, she schemes another part of it, saying like, oh, if you do this and this, then Tomo won't be your enemy. And so then it just proceeds to Carol hanging out with June, and Tomo gets embarrassed and then wants to confront her, but she gets mad at June and all that stuff. And once Carol points out that Tomo is her enemy, and June's like, oh, well, you have nothing to worry about. So it was a little weak plot. I didn't like it. And then in the end, Misuzu gets her way. She gets cake from Carol and all that stuff, and asks, they think they should be friends. And in which then Carol's like, well, can I ask Tomo to be, or actually Misuzu told Carol to ask Tomo to be her friend. I'm sure if she asked, she'd be okay with that, and not as an enemy or a rival. And so the next day, the 3 meet up, and Carol has a hard time asking Tomo, and it goes to a flashback when she was a kid, and maybe like a middle schooler, because I'm assuming they're in high school, of her trying to ask other kids to be friends. in which they don't want to be because they think she's either creepy or she's different because she's not Japanese, I guess. And so that's like kind of my connection to her. I feel bad for her, but at the same time, she's really an airhead, and I don't know why that is. If she has a speaking problem or if it's just like a personality problem, I'm not sure. But we'll find out more. It was just a quick introduction to her character this episode, and it's okay. It's not my favorite type of character, but she asked Tomo to be friends, and she says yes. If that's all you wanted, then that's all fine. And I thought that was, naturally that's a nice thing to do. And so they're friends, and now not enemies. Misuzu also becomes Carol's friend, and they're all happy together. Moving on, it ended up with Carol's now trying to be attached to Misuzu. Probably, I don't know what they're doing. Probably asking for more advice or just talking. And June and Tomo are talking with each other outside, saying, "Oh, that's all that she wanted. Just wanted to be friends, and that they're friends." So actually, it turns out June told Tomo that both Misuzu and Carol are popular amongst the guys, because during an earlier scene in the locker room, the guys are all saying who they think is pretty girls and stuff. They're talking about the girls around school and who's right for them, and both names were mentioned. And then so Tomo gets kind of jealous, and she's like, "Wait, do you have a thing for Misuzu?" And he mentions that we did go out in middle school, and they're like both like, "Eh," like a moment like of a, "Wait, what did I just say?" And now it's like, okay, what's the next episode going to hold? Like, what does that even mean? Maybe is that why they have a, like I said in the last episode, a love-hate relationship? They are really good friends, but at the same time they're not, because of this relationship they supposedly had in middle school. So we'll see what happens, but as far as episode 2 is concerned, that's all there is. And just leads to another question of what happened in their past. So overall, this episode was a little bit more slower going. Like I said, Carol wasn't exactly my favorite character, but maybe I'm just misunderstanding the character so far. But I end up liking June this episode, because he does acknowledge that she is a girl, that Tomo is a girl, and he does care for her. So that was really nice. I like that. And again, Misuzu's kind of like the star of the episode. She takes away she makes all these schemes up to make him closer, and she does care about Tomo a lot. And I guess in a way, maybe she even cares about June, in the sense that she wants them to be together. And so overall, I like this episode. It was really nice to watch, but I'm not going to rate it very high. Like I said, Carol is kind of boring. I didn't really like that plot. Maybe it leads into something bigger, but otherwise I'm going to rate this one kind of like maybe a 6. Just above average. I had a couple good laughs. It was a little bit of good humor here and there. Misuzu definitely brings out the humor in the episode. Otherwise, it was alright. I wouldn't say it was the best, but I think episode 2, second episodes of any anime are kind of like, it's just okay. It's more of a world building, I guess. Not sure if that goes for every anime, but that's at least how I felt. And so hopefully it gets more interesting going into, usually third and fourth episodes are really high action, or a lot more more dynamics between characters happening. So I think I'll leave it like that. 6 out of 10. So it's above average. I wouldn't say it's the best thing ever, but we'll see how things go. Like I said, I do like June in this one, and so he definitely turned things around for me. We'll see how things progress. But it's kind of weird because the other two girls, Ogawa and God, what was the other girl's name? I forget. The two girls that like Misaki, they didn't even show up. They weren't even in the episode. So it's kind of weird. Not sure why that was. They just kind of dropped out, which is fine because that's what I kind of wanted. I felt like they were weak characters, but it is what it is. So they'll probably make a return probably next episode or two. So we'll see. But yeah, 6 out of 10, and I'll leave it at that. Yeah, if you guys like this video, if you guys like how I'm doing this, please hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. If there's something you guys think I should be doing differently, let me know in the comment section down below. I'll reply as soon as possible as well. I like any kind of criticism, and I'll take anything just to make sure my videos are a little bit cleaner. Otherwise, I will catch you guys in the next episode, if not the next video that I post. And until then, take care.